Tonight we have Elio and Avidan from TwoChassidsInaPod. Hi guys.
Hello, hello.
What's up?
You guys are all the way in Spot right now.
Spot, the holy city of Israel. Yep.
Wow, what time is it over there?
11 p.m. on the dot.
Wow. Does that mean you guys are working on a podcast?
Exactly.
These are usually the hours.
We have the whole setup actually ready.
I've been listening to your podcast and I get this like mix of emotions. Like 1 second I'm taking in this really deep concept you guys put out there, and the next second I'm just cracking up and dying of laughter. It's so funny.
It's very important. We try to mix it. We have Avidan comedy here.
Wait, okay, so tell our listeners a little more about yourselves and about your podcast.
So really, this was Eliyahu's idea, but I've been doing film for a long time, and I've been doing comedy skits, and I was looking for something to do more outreach, something that I could bring more Torah and Chassidus, but wouldn't have too much editing. And then Eliyahu came, and he had an idea, and he's like, "Hey, hey, you want to do a podcast?" I'm like, "Oh, I don't know, podcast." And the next day, I'm thinking, "Wow, why do I even think twice about this? It's super easy. You just set up, and you get so much out there. You can talk about so many things, have fun, and this is an amazing to have a podcast." So we started doing it and haven't stopped since.
That's so
Our
funny.
show is us two regular guys, two friends that are living Hasidic, somewhat Hasidic lifestyles, inspired by the masters of Chassidut. And we're Balei Tshuva, so we lost a certain sense of comedy and entertainment and media that is so well, like the shefa of it, and of any different type, any different topic, any different genre. But in the Jewish world, quality content is not so much the main theme always. So that's really our goal, is to be able to share good ideas, but in a modern way, like a podcast, and on a YouTube channel, on a podcast, different platforms, Instagram, Facebook.
Yeah, some entertainment.
Well, you guys are doing a great job. I mean, I'm enjoying it, so.
That's great to hear. Thank you. Yeah.
So why did you guys decide to pick the bracha of Shelo Asani Goy?
So I definitely have a very big connection to this bracha. It's a big teaching in Breslov, in Judaism in general. Obviously, we all say this blessing in the morning, or we should all be saying this blessing in the morning and appreciating it. But in Breslov specifically, Rabbi Natan talks about this idea at length. And there's many different amazing things that I've heard about this bracha. So when I had an option of picking, I wanted to pick something that's that not only touches my heart, and it's something that I try to have extra kavanah, extra intention on, but also that, like, I've heard really nice stories. One, just to run one off the head. There's a song by Aaron Razel. I don't know if you know Yonatan Razel and Aaron Razel, two brothers, American Israelis. They make amazing music, and Aaron Razel put out a Purim album, and on the Purim album he has a song that's called Shelo Asani Goy. And the song, in the song, he says, "Pam shalu et Rav Shach." Once they asked Rav Shach, "Why do we make the bracha that Hashem didn't make us a goy, and we don't make a bracha that He made us a Jew?" And Rav Shach thought for a bit, and he answered, and he says, "Hashem makes sure that you're not a goy. You make sure that you're a Jew." And there's many different beautiful ideas on this. You can go into deeper what it is to be a Jew, what it is to be a goy. It's nothing derogatory.
Yeah, I'm actually happy you picked this topic, because I'm sure we all encounter this situation where we maybe even ourselves have a problem with it, with like Shelo Asani Goy, or like why we were not made a Goy, like, and also people think it's a derogatory term, Goy. So I think it's really important to clarify that Goy means literally nation. Like, we ourselves, the Jewish nation, are called nation, Goy Kadosh, and we're called multiple times in the Torah a Goy, and it just means that it's a nation. And of course, we say we're not a Goy, Shelo Asani Goy. Why? Because, like, example, in the Jewish world ourselves, we have the priest, we have the Kohanim, and what's their mission? Their purpose in the world is to connect us, the Jewish people, spiritually to Hashem. They're like spiritually in charge, so to speak. Not so to speak, they are, to connect us with Hashem. And so the same thing with us as Jews. We're not necessarily better than the Goyim, but we've given us a specific, very important mission, is to be in charge of spirituality of the world, to connect the world with Hashem, to connect Hashem with this world. And I really like what Rabbi Y.Y. Jacobson said. And he goes on like Shelo Asani Goy, Shelo Asani Isha. Why do we say all these things? It sounds a bit strange. Like why thank Hashem that we are not made a woman, that we're not made a Goy? What's so bad about being a woman? What's so bad about being a Goy? It's not, he says, it's not about that. Really, if you think about it, Goyim, they themselves also have like 7 Noachidic laws. They have even 70 if you really break it down. And the women also have, of course, many mitzvot. But a man, especially, and let's just talk about generally a Jew, we have like 613 mitzvot to connect with Hashem. Now, when we say Todah Shelo Asani Goy, it means what it really means. What Rabbi Jacob said is like, thank you Hashem for not giving us just 7 mitzvahs to connect to you, but giving us 613 ways to connect with you, 613 pathways to literally be able to connect with the essence, with the source of Hashem himself. And I really like that, how he put that.
Wow. You know, I love that it's so individualized. You know, like it says Shelo Asani, that he made me, meaning like this is my essence. Like being Jewish is my essence. And that's when I start to introspect, right? Like to lehit palel, to judge oneself. You know, when you're saying these brachot, you're judging yourself. And it's good to ask yourself, like, what does it mean to you to be Jewish? Like, am I acting Jewish? You know, am I fulfilling my potential as a Jew? You know, just like stop yourself and say, like, are you wholeheartedly happy? You know, like, do you feel like, like, are you besimcha when you say it? Are you grateful for the mitzvot and the opportunities to bond with the Shechina and to achieve like the Kedusha?
And we have to understand also that Chazal's intention, the rabbi's intentions with this blessing, it's brought down that like they teach that I'm not saying that I'm happy to not be the Goy, the average Joe in America or in wherever, Africa or wherever it might be, that just the average person in the street. You're saying this and you have in mind the leaders of the world, the kings of the world, the kings of the Goyim. We're even happy that we're not them. You know, like Avidan says, we have Torah, we have mitzvot, we have a much deeper connection to Hashem inherently by the fact that we came down as Jews to this world. And it really is something to be happy about. And if the person doesn't know why it's such a ma'ala, as you say, like such a great thing to be a Jew, you kind of have an obligation to research it. You know, you can see it in throughout the world. I've lived in 6 different countries. No matter where you go, a Jew is different, and he's smelt out. It's like they can detect us. It doesn't matter where you are. It doesn't matter. I've experienced this. Everyone's experienced. I'm sure you have too. A Jew is a Jew is a Jew. It doesn't matter if you're shomer Torah mitzvot, you're keeping the Torah or not. If you're in a room filled with non-Jews, very easily, whether they know that it's because you're a Jew or not, you most likely will be treated differently than anybody else. You'll be looked at differently than anybody else. We're not saying it's not always a good thing. It's most of the time it's not a good thing, unfortunately. But it's definitely a reality that someone who's traveled the world and interacted with many different places and many different people, the Jew always sticks out somehow. And it's we have to ask the question of why. You know, and another thing that ties into this, a lot of Likutei Moharan, a lot of different ideas in the Torah, especially I've been learning it now with Rabbi Tzach, and he's pointing out that whenever the Torah talks about Amim, the nations, and we have to have borders and separate ourselves of how we act in the nations really, there's 70 different nations classically in the Torah, even though there's many more now, they're all rooted in those 70. And each nation has a different, bad trait. We also have our traits, but each nation has their trait. And setting up borders and separating ourselves from that is not coming underneath the dominion, underneath the kingdom of any of these nations, not letting any of these traits overcome us and overtake us. So these things can be looked at as a very individual, particular circumstance, and it can also be looked at as a global circumstance. And really, it's just looking at it, whether I'm looking at it as Am Yisrael needs to be separate from the nations, like we say in Avdallah every single week, or just me as a Jew. How much am I connected to my people?
Okay. What were those three things that Rashi said that the Jews always kept? It was like their lashon, their clothing,
their language, and their names.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a very important. That Rabbi Deutsch always says. Shout out to Rabbi Deutsch.
Wait.
Hear this.
Rabbi Eli Deutsch.
Yeah, of course. The reason I'm going into Olam Haba, the whole entire reason I'm connected to Torah and Mitzvah.
You know him too?
Wait. Wine and Chassidut Eli Deutsch?
Yeah, Wine and Chassidut Eli Deutsch, Chassidut Daily, which is my project with him. Exactly.
He was my teacher. He was
he's my Rebbe for over 11 years. No, 11 years now, Baruch Hashem, he's been my Rebbe nearly. What were we even saying about him now? Wow, forget. He says that, right? Like you said, what is Rashi saying of the Shem, right? Their name, why they didn't change their name, and that's part of the reason that we got out of Egypt. Because Rabbi Deutsch always teaches that the person's name, the Shem, that's where Sham is. That's the essence. There lies the essence of that person. So if you don't change your name and you're proud to be Yitzchak, you're proud to be Leah, you're proud to be Shira, Devorah, whatever it is, when you rock your name and you roll with it and you run with it as a Jew, you're tapping into the essence of what it is, and all your shefa comes down by way of that name. So,
wow.
And the way we dress, even though that's been changed,
yeah.
What the rabbis say now, that's why the Chassidim haven't changed their way they dress, because one of the things, they don't change the way that the father dressed. So you could say they're a bit outdated, but swag,
Wow. And you got this from Eli Deutsch.
The name, yeah, the fact that the name of the person shows where the essence of the person lies.
Where did you get the swag?
The swag, that's from Egypt, those are things.
Oh, yeah.
We didn't change our swag, but they have.
They didn't wear many clothes over there, huh?
In Egypt?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like Miami. It's the same thing.
Yeah, but it's been formed differently, like everyone wears like different things. Like the Sephardim wear it differently, different people from Israel wear different stuff. So how do you know what's the right clothing to wear, Even the language, there's like Yiddish, there's this, there's that, like what?
No, but Jewish, the thing at the end of the day, Yiddish is still a Jewish language. It's Ladino is a Jewish language. They're not languages from the other nations. And then there's Lashon HaKodesh, there's Hebrew, the holy language.
And also for clothes, we might have like changed it a lot, but like a Jew will always, if he's really connected, he'll always wear kippah at least, and tzitzit. So there's always at least that.
Right, the basics.
Yeah, and the
sneut for a woman, all these different things. There's still things that are that we're able to do. There's a lot that goes into dress in Judaism. A lot, there's whole entire parashiyot that just talk about the clothing of the Kohanim, and so it's not a small thing in Judaism.
Okay, well, I can't believe you know Rabbi Deutsch. I used to go to his apartment in the old city all the time for his wine and chassidut thing.
Yeah, that's the Rebbe.
We almost did a house swap with him.
Really?
Yeah, temporarily, of course.
I feel like we actually have a lot of mutuals and we just don't know it, but it's a small world.
That's the Jewish world, Jewish geography. That's the other thing. The other ma'ala of being a Jew is that we have one big family, tight-knit family, and it's very hard to meet a Jew from a place and not find someone that he knows,
Yeah,
or separated by. And I think the whole world, there's a separation of 5 people or 7 people between each person in the world, and in the Jewish community, it's less than 3. So,
wow.
But Baruch Hashem, that's Shelo Asani Goy. We have to be happy. We have to be happy that we have mitzvot. Rabbi Natan says when we take out our tefillin or we take out anything to do a mitzvah, to come light Shabbat candles, whatever it may be, we have to be happy that we have the opportunity now to connect to Hashem and to really be able to tap into the source of life and happiness, which is Hashem. It was us that was chosen. What is it? What? You chose us for what? The chosen nation for what? Just to be the chosen nation so we can brag about it? For sure not.
Partially.
Mission. Okay. That too. But with tzniut,
we could use more of a bragging.
Yeah, we have to live it. Just live it. If you live it, and if you rock
proud,
it, you wear your name, you speak your language, you don't shy away, and you don't change your dress. You go with the halachot of how to dress, and even maybe the style. And B'ezrat Hashem, you can embrace the fact that you're a Jew, and you can change the whole entire world. Because when a Jew stands strong, everyone can notice it.
Need to bring the cool in Jew again.
Do you feel like you guys are scared to look Jewish right now that everything is going on? I mean, you guys are in spot, it's different, but if you were to travel, how do you feel about it?
So there's different places that it's a reality that, you have to take care of yourself. Like in France, for example, you wear baseball hats, whatever, tuck your tzitzit. The thing, if you go to a place like that and you don't do it, it's
interesting actually. When me and my wife we went to Canada after we got married, and I already had like a big beard, was wearing tzitzit, when we went back, we went through Amsterdam. We visited there to see my dad, and we walk around the city, and I would just tuck in my tzitzit because I felt like there's like a lot of like herbs there, and there's a lot of that type of thing. So I was like, I'm not gonna go out my tzitzit, but we looked very Jewish, like walking around. But nobody said anything. I think we just fit in because we basically probably looked like hipsters.
There's places and there's places. But I went to Brazil and go all around Brazil, no problem to wear kippah and tzitzit. But then again, you have like certain areas in Paris that not that I'm going there. Baruch Hashem, I have no plan on going there. I have no plan on leaving Eretz Yisrael at all. But there's places that a Jew has to be careful, and there's places where there's no problem. New York, they're getting attacked every week. I don't think any Haredi Jew in New York is, Orthodox Jew in New York is planning on changing really how he's dressed.
Right.
Just pray that everyone will be okay.
Yeah. Do you guys feel safe wherever you are in Israel?
100%.
Oh, sure.
100%. This is the place where Hashem's eyes are all, from the beginning of the year to the end of the year, Hashem's eyes are on Eretz Yisrael. It's written in the Torah. It's not the best place in the world, the safest place in the world.
I mean, you live in New York, right?
Yeah.
So you probably feel a big change since a year or 2 years ago, probably.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
And I don't know if you've been to Israel, but here always, like, people talk about it, oh, it's so dangerous, so scary, but then you come here and you can't explain it almost. There's no way to explain it. You feel so relaxed, you feel so safe. Right. Kids can just play outside. Everyone could just walk over. Even though there's, like, Arab attacks here and there, like, you don't feel the stress of that at all. Like, there are times, of course, there were in the time of the war, like a few weeks ago, this was a bit different. But besides, when it's over, it was over, and everybody just felt calm right away. And even then, it was still rare compared to if you hear what's happening in New York or in England.
There's a birthwriter that just passed away. He was from Colorado. He was in university in Chicago. He got on the train in the night. A stray bullet came through the window of the train, and he got a bullet in the neck.
Whoa!
Jewish kid just came back from birthright, in 2019 or whatever, just here in Eretz Yisrael 2 years ago, and now he's passed away in Chicago. So these things that Baruch Hashem for the most part doesn't happen here in Israel. Other crazy things do, but at the end of the day, this is our home. So I'd rather have the problems that we have in our home than to be in another place and having problems where they're not going to have our back really if things change.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, well, it's been a pleasure speaking with the both of you. I wish you lots of hatzlacha, and I hope you reach many people with this initiative, and I hope you inspire others to come back to Hashem. And
Amen.
Just wanted to thank you.
Thank you. Wish you all the same.
Thank you for the platform, and thank you for letting us get our voices out and share some thoughts.
Besimcha. Okay.
Nice. Thank you. Thank you.
Good night.
Tonight we have Elio and Avidan from TwoChassidsInaPod.